boys and girls and fellow dippers out there, and welcome to my new video entitled What Game Mode I Want to See in Battlefield 5. Now obviously, to the veteran Battlefielders out there, you'll notice that this isn't obviously Battlefield that's playing in the background. It's Medal of Honor from 2010, another first-person shooter set in modern day, and more specifically around the conflict in Afghanistan. I'm just going to quickly go over it. Single player was developed by the then newly opened EA Los Angeles studio, Danger Close Games, and is set back in 2002 and seen through the eyes of three different protagonists, Navy SEAL, Delta Force Sniper and Army Ranger, and loosely based around parts of Operation Anaconda and the surrounding Battle of Roberts Ridge. I do remember there was some criticism surrounding single player from what I remember, mostly due to graphics and general length of single player itself. In my opinion, I actually really enjoy playing the single player, and I've played it a few times through, both on PlayStation and the PC, and didn't really notice too many issues with graphics a large amount of time, and I enjoyed the storyline. It was certainly better graphically and story-wise than the sequel Warfighter, but the less said about that, the better, really. Moving on to the multiplayer, this was developed by EA DICE, so I do not need to go into much more information than that, really, do I? And you can tell that single-player and multiplayer were made by two different studios just by looking at them. There's such a difference in the textures and character models, you probably wouldn't even realise you were playing the same game. Anyway, back to the multiplayer gameplay, and it was, and still is, good fun to play. To break down a quick description of what is in the game, I'll tell you. Two opposing factions, as standard. You got Coalition, aka Americans of course, because it's always Americans in it, usually. First is the opposing forces, aka the Taliban. And then you had three classes on each side. You had the Rifleman, which is basically like a cross between the assault player in Battlefield and the support player, because you got the M16, you got the F2000, the AK-47 for the Taliban, and an M249 or the Pekineg, depending on obviously which side you're on. And then the specialist was basically an engineer. He had an M4 or an AKS-74U, an MP7, a P90, and a shotgun, and a small or an RPG, obviously side dependent. And then finally you had the sniper, M24 versus the SV98, and then the G3, the M21 and the SVD, battle rifles. One of the extra items that was included in this game was the point streak rewards, not the kill streak, point streak. Now these were either offensive or defensive. Offensive was mortar strikes, missiles, stuff like that. Defensive was handing out flak vests to your teammates, or sending up a UAV so they're spotted on the map. You got points for killing, obviously, kill assisting, capturing or destroying an objective, and if you use defensive perks, you actually got a set amount of points for that. So it was always better at the start of a point streak to use defensive perks, because then you built the points up a lot quicker. Whereas if you used an offensive perks and didn't get any kills, that's just a waste, so you didn't get any points whatsoever. There was fairly limited vehicle uses in the game. They only had a light tank in a combat mission for the American side, which brings me on to the game modes. Had the usual TDM, otherwise known as Team Assault, then a Domination Conquest style game mode where you had 3 flags, as standard really, and obviously you had to attempt to keep control. And there was 3 other game modes: Clean Sweep, Objective Raid and Hot Zone, which I'm not too sure about because I don't think I ever played them, and if I did, it was a long time ago. The final and most fun game mode that I played on the most was Combat Mission, and now I finally come back round to what I want to see in Battlefield 5. Now I already played the whole game on PS3 for no more than 44 hours, Medal of Honor, but the Combat Mission was obviously my favourite game mode because I played over 34 hours on it. So, Combat Mission, what is it? Now, going back to Battlefield quickly, there is a game mode called Rush, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. Attackers versus defenders. You have two MCOMs, which are like computer stations, which the attackers attempt to plant charges on them, blowing up, and obviously defenders need to stop them planting or, defuse the charges if they do plant. The attackers have a limited amount of Storm tickets. Hit 0 means defenders win. If the attackers manage to destroy both MCOMs, then another set present themselves, and the map progresses through as such. And there's usually like 3, 4, 5 pairs of MCOMs depending on the map. Now, combat mission, Medal of Honor, is very similar. Again, it's attackers versus defenders, but instead of 2 MCOMs, you only had one single objective, and it varies to what it is. For example, on the Helmand map, you start off having to destroy a roadblock by setting charges, like you would on an MCOM. Then you move up into the hills and you have to secure an area, much like capturing a flag in Conquest. Then you have to destroy a weapons cache by planting charges, then another roadblock before finally blowing up an AA gun. Again, attackers have a limited number of spawns, and I really enjoyed this game mode as it felt like something you would expect to see happening in real world, securing an area or destroying an AA guns, etc. Also, you had added sound effects to the game, like radio chatter or aeroplanes overhead that are dropping bombs or shooting, and it just added to the ambience and the overall experience, and it really felt really good fun. So, what is the game mode I am wanting in Battlefield 5? It's a mix of the two, basically. From combat mission, I'm looking for the different types of objectives you have to capture, be it a roadblock, an MCOM, AA gun, or securing an area. Added with all the added sound effects that came from Medal of Honor, just to create that atmosphere. And then from the Battlefield side, map and objective dependent, having 2 objectives at each stage, possibly even both objectives destroyed or captured, or have the same thing we have in Battlefront, where the game mode is called Turning Point, where you start off with 3 objectives but attackers only have to capture 1 of them. And then it moves on to the next, and then there's 2, and then you only have to capture 1, and then there's just 1. So, to sum up, Medal of Honor combat mission game mode crossed with Battlefield Rush game mode, having attackers versus defenders, having different types of objectives at each point, be it destroying an MCOM, a roadblock, etc., or capturing a flag area. And depending on what objective you have and the map design, having 1 or 2 objectives each stage goes through. So to give an example, using the current Battlefield 4 map, Savoid 311. Starting off with the underground bunker, you have to destroy a generator in the bunker itself, and then possibly destroy a roadblock that is on the main road. So that's 2 objectives you've got. Then moving on to the 3 buildings, which would be the Bravo flag. You have to secure the barracks, like you would be capturing a flag. Obviously it should take a little bit longer to capture the flag than it would do in the game Conquest. Then moving on to the 2 industrial buildings, you have to destroy a large tank making machine or something like that, generator in the other building, and then finally having the final objectives, destroy 2 MCOMs this time at the communication centre where the radar dish is, because that just makes sense. So that is my idea for a game mode, and one that I would love to see in the upcoming Battlefield, because I would like to see Rush make a comeback, because it was good in Battlefield 3, not so much in Battlefield 4. So if you guys like this idea, or have an idea of your own, I'd love to hear it. I hope you guys and girls enjoy this video and not falling asleep while in it, while I explained it all. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.